And we cannot reiterate how this government is PRing their way through the healthcare system while the innocent Jamaicans are dying left, right, and center. Well-thinking people like ourselves are standing on the sidelines and are saying that, oh, and that is a problem I have with nationwide news too. Because when Cliff Hughes talk about Christopher Tufton, oh, is the best thing since sliced bread, oh, is it this, is it that? And then when we go on this program to talk, oh, it's because you're unpopular, where you come on the station, where it's like they approach them who are not doing anything with a positive mind, and us who mean the country so much, they try to infuse negative when they try to speak to us, and I don't like it. I don't like it. And that is the problem that we've had with a lot of these people who are not fair in how they go about discussing the business of the country. And those are the things that have held Jamaica back, and it will continue to hold us back if we don't hold these people accountable with their bias.
Hot water channel, straight to the max. Bring the thing to the people then. Original generous speed. Same way. Man, big up hot water channel, no ice cream. Yeah man, big up yourself.
Yeah, before I get into technology, I just want you to know that we won the court case where my posters are concerned. They are now going back up. So we're looking good. The People's National Party, we have some really good lawyers. We know the law, and we don't intend to be bullied by small-minded people. We intend to stand our ground, and we intend to stand up for Jamaica, and we intend to rescue Jamaica from the comrades. We are in grave danger as a nation, and I say so because when you look at how our economy has been managed, especially over the last 9-10 years, you recognize that there has not been a focus on doing what is necessary to improve the lives of the average Jamaican. We have seen where our unemployment rate, as reported by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, is one of the lowest that we've seen in many decades. It's about 4-point-something%. As economists, when we compare this unemployment rate to the national and the natural rate of unemployment for Jamaica, it is below that natural accelerating inflationary rate. What do we mean? The unemployment rate is very low. However, if you scrutinize the numbers, you would realize that gross domestic product, which is GDP, the amount of people being employed on an annual basis, has increased, but the amount of goods that we're producing has remained the same. Now in economics, we differentiate between what we call the intensive and the extensive margin. The extensive margin is when you hire more people and these people produce more goods. The intensive margin is when you use the existing amount of people to produce more goods. Now Jamaica has exhausted what we call the extensive margin because, as you realize, most of the people are employed. And if most of the people are employed and we are still producing the same, it means that we cannot add more people to the production process through the extensive margin. Now what this means is that we need the people who are currently working to produce more via the intensive margin. And this intensive margin is considered to be an increase in your productivity that increases your output. And the number one factor that contributes to the increase in the extensive margin is technology. When you look at the Asian tigers, you look at countries like China, you look at countries like South Korea, whose GDP back in 1950s was $158 per person. Today, South Korea's GDP per capita is over $34,000 per person. And how were they able to accomplish this? You look at Singapore, it tells a similar story. A country being dissected from their motherland, the Philippines, and they themselves had to make some really important choices to improve the lives of their people. Among those choices was one, they made a pledge to retain the youngest and the brightest. And not only to retain them, but to attract outsiders who are young and bright to contribute to the development of that country. Today, Singapore boasts one of the most technologically advanced economies in the world. And sometimes when you juxtapose the Jamaican scenario with Singapore, it sounds cliche. However, if you recognize that both of us have the same potential, and Jamaican people also has the ability that has been displayed by a lot of these Asian people, but guess what happens? Young people in Jamaica feel disenfranchised from the productive process. Many of us believe that our voices are not being heard in the right places, and even if our voices are heard in the right places, we are not being given the ability to contribute our expertise and skill in a willful manner towards the holistic advancement of the particular industries in which we work. And as a result, many of us find it easier to get employment abroad, take a flight, go to the United States, we get 4 times the amount of income, we get more appreciation for the effort that we put in, and our abilities are better compensated and accepted. But today, I stand here to say to you that this People's National Party government has recognized that. And I am a symbol of how the People's National Party has entrusted their real understanding and their understanding of who we are, and entrusted responsibility on our young people. You have myself, you have young Wayne here, you have young Senator Gabriel Morris, and a host of other young people that the PNP has given voice in this political movement and has empowered us with the ability to say that yes, young people, there is a place for you in Jamaica. And these are things that we cannot overlook, right? Because we want to ensure that just as how Singapore were able to move their GDP per capita from less than $1,000 per person to over $100,000 per person, just as how other countries have been able to improve their GDP per capita, Jamaica too has the ability. Our current GDP per capita stands at about $7,000 per person per annum. In order for us to achieve GDP per capita to move from that 7,000 per person to at least 13,000 per person, which means that 7 plus 7, 14, right? So we need GDP per capita to practically double in less than 6 years. Now, my research has shown that this is going to be practically impossible, especially with the trajectory that Jamaica has been on over the last 10 years. However, we can pivot and we can evolve. In mathematics, we say that when you have a particular economy moving in a particular trajectory, there are no points of discontinuity, but there are turning points and change in trajectory. And that is what the People's National Party means when we say that we want to rescue Jamaica. We want to increase the income of the average citizen, and we want to improve how much each person earns per capita per annum, and that is fundamental. Now, how are we going to achieve this? We're going to achieve this through science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We're already entrepreneurs, and we already have our innovative approach to every type of industry in this country. All that we need is support. First, we want to start with education, right? We want to start with innovation in education because the world is changing. We are now moving into the 4th and the 5th industrial revolution at the same time. And Jamaica missed the technology boat in the 1950s when these countries, the Singapore, the China, the Japan, the Taiwan, the South Korea were jumping on the technology boat. Jamaica jumped on the banana boat. And that has restricted our ability to generate real true income for our people. And we've said it many times, Singapore and Jamaica export a container of chips. The value of Singapore's container of chips, $100 million US. It's the same container, right? The value of Singapore's container of chips, $100 million US. The value of Jamaica's container of chips, a measly $50,000 US. The difference here is that Singapore exported a container of microchips while Jamaica exported a container of banana chips. Evolve from the banana chips mentality, something that we economists refer to as the plantation economy. It's just a different figure of speech, it's just a different way of articulating the same point. But we must now begin to appreciate the ambition of our people. And what we're seeing is that the government boasts so much about low unemployment is that they really don't get the picture of the ambition that dwells within each Jamaican and what is it that we want for ourselves, our communities, our towns and cities, and by far our country. So when they talk about minimum wage and they speak about increasing it from $15,000 per week to $16,000 per week, that's $100 US per week. That's $400 US per month. 12 4 is 48. Oh my God, if you're working minimum wage, it means that you're working about $5,000 US per year. And it sounds a bit trivial, doesn't it? Hard-working Jamaicans, well-thinking Jamaicans, Jamaicans with ambition to be their best selves are restricted to the idea of minimum wage. This PNP government has recognized that minimum wage cannot take us far, that exhausting the extensive margin and employing our people for twopence, what's her name? Twopence. Employing our people for twopence is a 1960s, 1860s, 1760s type of mentality. The world is now using the Internet of Things, using the 4th and the 5th Industrial Revolution to create what we call unicorns. Unicorns are companies that make over $1 billion US in no time. When you look at Jamaica's GDP, our GDP is about $18 billion US, we can round it off to 20, and it has been the government's ambition since they came into power in 2016 to achieve 5% growth. They dubbed it 5 and 4, and they wanted to achieve that 5% growth by 2020, right? It is now 2025, and we're still stuck at our usual 1% growth. It shows you gross mismanagement of the macroeconomy, right? And it's lack of understanding, because when they came with the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, we recognized the flaw and said that ministry, if it is to be articulated properly, should be the Ministry of Wealth Creation and Economic Development, because those two phrases are the phrases that are going to allow employment to take place and most fundamentally GDP growth to take place. So we're talking about technology. We need technology in education to help our students to learn. We need them now to move from that 18% who graduate with CXCs to at least 70% graduating with CXCs. We need proper AI systems to check and balance all the students coming from the communities who are going to school, to be registered at school, to make sure that they are in class learning, and also support services. Because as an educator myself, I can tell you that there is a silent revolution taking place in how people are educated. The days of dictating to people and chalk and cheese and so on, it's a thing of the past. These students are learning far faster than we are, and they have far greater resources, and it's up to us not to belittle technology and keep Jamaica behind, but it's up to us to embrace technology learning and to give our young people the foundation that they need, and to support them using artificial intelligence, because many teachers believe that artificial intelligence is going to compete with the student and also compete with them. No. Artificial intelligence is a tool that is going to allow the students to learn more information per unit of time and allowing them to become more productive. Because productivity and the intensive margin is what our aim should be geared towards extending. Technology in finance, very important. We're losing the ability of cash to move quickly. Gone are the days you want to transact business and you send the money through the bank transfer and the person is in the line waiting from 9 p.m. You send the money from 8 a.m. in the morning, and sometimes it goes through, sometimes it does not. We need financial solutions that are quick and right on spot. And the People's National Party recognize this, because we need fintech solutions. We can't say, okay, somebody wants to do something in Montego Bay. We go to the bank 9 a.m. in the morning, we send the money is not going to them until 3 p.m. that afternoon. That is slowing up the locomotion of the lifeblood of the economy, which is money. So financial technology if this country wants transactions to move faster and they want more output per unit of time. We love the agricultural industry, and technology in agriculture is #1 on our list as well. Our leader spoke of it. He's going to prepare an agriculture fund, and this fund is going to be used to improve how technology is assisting the agricultural industry to grow. Jamaica agricultural industry depends on water, it depends on inputs, right? And it faces challenges, drought sometimes, flood sometimes. Prices are high in July, prices are high in December. Prices high in July because of drought, prices high in December because of flood rains that damage the crops. We need now these micro dams that Michael Manley spoke about. They are relevant in the 1970s and they are now relevant in 2025 with the infusion of smart technology that will track and monitor how water is distributed to these crops, that will allow us to grow more crops per unit of time, allow us to grow more crops per space, because the technology has assisted many countries around the world to improve their agricultural output, and technology will allow Jamaica to improve its agricultural output. Fundamental. Technology in healthcare. One of my uncles died yesterday. He went to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, he was healthy on Sunday, all of us eat Sunday and all of this time. Yesterday morning him saying chest a tighten up, and he got Cornwall Regional Hospital, and by 8 p.m. dead. This is very disheartening to me. I'm standing here in front of you with tears in the back of my eyes, because the healthcare system, and we cannot reiterate how this government is PRing their way through the healthcare system while the innocent Jamaicans are dying left, right, and center. Well-thinking people like ourselves are standing on the sidelines and are saying that, oh, and that is a problem I have with nationwide news too. Because when Cliff Hughes talk about Christopher Tufton, oh, is the best thing since sliced bread, oh, is it this, is it that? And then when we go on this program to talk, oh, it's because you're unpopular, where you come on the station, where it's like they approach them who are not doing anything with a positive mind, and us who mean the country so much, they try to infuse negative when they try to speak to us, and I don't like it. I don't like it. And that is the problem that we've had with a lot of these people who are not fair in how they go about discussing the business of the country. And those are the things that have held Jamaica back. And it will continue to hold us back if we don't hold these people accountable with their bias. Comrades, technology is important to every single industry. And what we have done thus far is to map out all the industries and how technology can help them to grow. We have to develop a spatial plan that looks at all the industries in every parish. And as I said to you before, if we have a GDP of 25% is to grow it by $1 billion per year. The same billion of which we speak. And we have the plans. If we have 14 parishes, it means that we only need, say, less than 100 billion per parish in order for us to grow by that 5%. Westmoreland alone, when we improve and increase the ability for us to earn from nutraceutical products, from pharmaceutical products, and we create the industry, Westmoreland alone will give us the ability to grow by 5%, let alone the other parishes. Believe in the People's National Party plans, believe in our ability to articulate our plans and to infuse our plans, and believe in your own potential. Because the People's National Party is here to provide resources that would catapult you and your family, not just to get jobs, not just to become a part of the working poor, but for you to elevate from the lower class to the middle class, and from the middle class to the upper class. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
That was inspiring, wasn't it? Yes! So because you were so inspiring, I'm going to return your phone. So, thank you, Dr. Haughton, for that inspiring, captivating, and simple but elevating. Simple but not simplistic. Was I right when I told you he was able to break down those intimidating terms? And so, thank you for breaking it down so clearly. Real economic growth happens at the intensive margin when we use technology to improve how we work and what we produce, and at the expensive margin when we bring more Jamaicans, especially our youth, into the economy. That's the kind of inclusive, tech-driven future the People's National Party is committed to building. So a round of applause to